peace and are condemning fascism. President alone and throughout the country. But I also would add to this news a phenomenon, social cultural phenomenon that we have been seeing in the past few hours. I don't know if you have seen the play of Caracas and Magallanes. Of course I saw it. I don't know, we lose two plays. What is happening to Caracas, to the Caracas team, to the owners of the Caracas team? What is happening? We will have to fulfill the promise of handing the Caracas to the communes for it to win. We lost two plays, one in the Monumental, and now we also lost against Magallanes, I'm saying. Against Magallanes we lost 2 times, and it hurts for us to lose to Magallanes. Magallaneros are present here, but well, I would not want to make fun of this. It is impressive what you say, and the cultural nights in Chacao, I don't know if you saw them, and San Agustin as well. And also in Camila, Venezuela is overwhelmed with music and sports and patriotic marches that have been taking place throughout the east of the country, because the people of the east self called to mobilize in Tamacura, Monagas, and Suátegui, Sucre, near Nueva Esparta. They self-called them on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against the threats of one of the actions, military actions called by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, that is centering its efforts on breaking all of the strong brotherhood between both nations. She has made a lot of harm to the interest. She's responding to the interest of the far right of the U.S. that in the very own interest of the Trinidadian people, and the great liberator Artigas said, and also the rest of the country afterwards joined powerfully in great mobilizations here in Caracas and Petare and all of the capitals of the country to say no to war, no to the threats, yes to peace, enough is enough. And the whole people of Venezuela is doing this, and I also celebrate this decision, this mobilization. It is one of our key formulas to want peace. In all of the circumstances we have been living, the power of the people mobilized with the people on the streets. No, there is no fascism. President, you spoke at the beginning of this program, you said, and I quote, the context is very hot, is very complex. It is a good point for this question. The headline, Russia is willing to respond to the petitions of Venezuela in the face of threats of the United States, and I'm going to quote directly to be precise. We are in contact with our partners and we are ready to keep responding to their petitions, considering the threats. And this was said from the Foreign Affairs Minister of Russia through the speaker, Maria Zakharova. The two nations are going to keep working hand by hand, looking at the future with serenity and trust. That's correct. That's how it should be, with serenity, confidence, and brotherhood. We are on a daily basis communicating with the government of Russia to all of the topics. We have many issues on the move. The news this week on Monday of the cooperation, military cooperation, that it is also, we have 25 years of military cooperation, and that we have had a great number of soldiers that have been formed in Russia, and also officials of Russia that come to Venezuela. We have a cooperation that is calm and very helpful, and that is going to continue, because in this complex scenario of threat against Venezuela, this is turned into a news. Perhaps if it comes in a context in which we have no military threat against Venezuela, well, things would be different. Venezuela only wants to want peace in an exercise of the defense of our sovereignty, defending right to live, to life, to the happiness of our people. We don't mess around with anyone, and we ask. And with Russia as well, we are going to keep celebrating our triumphs and our efforts. Also, we stay in this international news, and I speak on behalf of one of the few. Also, Pedro is questioning the deadly OAS after the accusations of the United States with bombings on the Caribbean. Pedro said that these actions constitute an extrajudicial executions and criticized also the silence of other regions of the other nations of the region, and he qualified these actions as a systematic violation of human rights. Now, this is a systematic violation of human rights and are also executions called extrajudicial in a soft way to call these crimes. And effectively, Pedro, who is a great defender of the system of Inter-American, of the CIDH, and also the OAS, and even our first conversations when he visited us in the first occasions, we spent hours speaking on our visions of the Inter-American Commission and how those institutions were tied to the U.S. even when they have not signed the Costa Rican Pact, and how the OAS was the Minister of Colonies of the coup attempts and interventions of the United States for over 70 years. We debated a lot on that topic, and today he is denouncing it in a way, in a very profound anger way, I feel, from Pedro, and of indignation, of injustice. And effectively, this past week, there was a declaration of Volker Turk, High Commissioner for Human Rights, to whom we have criticized so much from Venezuela, because he made a declaration, a happy declaration, Volker Turk. We need to recognize from the justice that he has put the marks on this topic, and it seems like a huge advance. And thus, Volker Turk, the High Commissioner for Human Rights, that needs the peoples of the world. With that, Volker Turk, it is worthy to have a word with. He's defending international law, human rights, and he's against this kind of crimes that put at risk the life of the peoples of the Caribbean, but also put at risk the peace, stability of a region. No one in South America, no one in the Caribbean wants a war. No one is, and we mean no one in the United States wants a war in South America. There are the polls. There are many polls that have been coming to the light. It is strong, the opinion, the public opinion in the United States, the opinion of the people of the United States against the actions that have been taken in the Caribbean of extrajudicial executions, and it is strong, the opinion against a new war, a new eternal war against Venezuela, Colombia, or South America. It is very strong, the opinion. And what we've working on is to avoid provocations, to avoid an escalation, to prepare ourselves at the maximum level, and to want peace on a daily basis, which is the most beautiful thing we have, to want peace to defend life. President, speaking on human rights, there are two more news. We have a soup that Celia prepared for me. Celia prepares this soup, and when we come to these very cold places, this chicken soup helps me, and is the God's soup. So happy to see here Ernesto. He was never invited before. This is the first time he was never invited, but he's now. This President, we are going to analyze news from outside our region and human rights. Netanyahu orders attacks, new attacks and I open quotes, strong in Gaza, strong attacks in Gaza. He never says that he is going to delay the handover of hostages. This is news.